welcome to this new episode of Inspiration. That's my podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing, and today is episode 7 of season 4. So welcome if you're new to the podcast. So my name is Christelle. You can find me on @Stitch on Instagram, internet. That's my website and my Etsy shop. And I'm updating the shop every week on Mondays afternoon or on Monday afternoons. I'm also sending out a newsletter every Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. and the podcast is uploaded every Monday afternoon at the same time. So, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. It's always a pleasure to record the podcast and to be with you for another episode. So, today I wanted to share a very traumatic sock experience with you. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Then I have a new project on the needles and a finished object. But I just wanted to show off a bit because I have an interview in a French knitting magazine, and then we're going to talk about books, lots of books. Okay, I just wanted to remind you as well that there's a monthly cal going on every month. It renews. To enter, you have to share a tricot stitch project. It can be the yarn, it can be the pattern, can be both, and you will find all the details to join in the show notes, and every month you can win a skein of the colorway of the month of the Sock Knitters Almanac. So this month it's Druidesse. Well, all the details are just below. Just click and see, and it's very easy to enter, and it's fun. Especially for me, because I get to browse the hashtag afterwards, and it's so cool to see everything you do. So thank you so much for participating. Yeah, so I have something to share with you guys. I'm proud. Okay, so you might remember next week I shared this sock darning thing I was so proud about. Okay, remember the socks that my sister loves so much. So these are the socks. You can see they are pretty used, lots of peeling, huge hole on the sole at the heel, and yeah, I fixed one side, and I was thinking, too much peeling, I have to do something about that. So I bought this demonic device. Okay, so it's something to shear your knitting, to remove peeling. Okay, you can see it coming. No, can't you? So, okay, I decided to, give a whole makeover to the sock and have it like new for my sister. And I was happily, shearing along, removing the peeling, and it was looking nice. It's true that sometime that thing went when it went over some little bumps, and I was like, must be normal, nothing to worry about. Okay, then I thought to myself, I'm going to block them just to, open up the lace, and they will be brand new, and I will be praised for it. My sister's going to bow to me, to my sock expertise, and she's going to call me the woman who whispers in the ears of the socks, and she's going to be so wow. And I was like, I'm going to do a before and after, I'm going to share that on social media, I'm going to be the star. Okay, so so I wet blocked them, put them on the sock blocker, and then something unraveled just here, just a tiny snip, and the stitch went loose. And I was like, so the sock was wet on the sock blocker. I took my darning needle, I took the yarn the most close to the initial color I could find, because at that time I was still in denial. I thought that maybe my sister couldn't notice anything, and I was like, I'm just going to just fix it very quickly, she won't notice. she's not a knitter, she won't notice. And so I fixed that. I think very good. I didn't, you know, weave the ends in yet, but I was like, okay. And then I thought to myself, maybe it's the sound I heard. Okay, I'm going to just double check the big yarn overs, okay, in there. And then I noticed, and then I started ventilating. I noticed that again another stitch was snipped, and then another just right below. So I took another thread and I started repairing that as well. It was like, and then I remembered that that thing went quite a lot of time. Then I noticed that, okay, that was like and then I noticed several spots where it was the same, and the thread was almost cut. It was only a thread out of the 4 ply, just 1 ply was remaining intact. It was like I think I killed her socks. It was like I put them in the I throw them away in the kitchen waste bin. And they stayed there for like a whole morning. Thankfully, nobody went after me to pour dirty things on them, because afterward I took them out. But yeah, first reaction, put them in the waste bin. Just want to forget about it all. And then I went online to see if the indie dyer I bought the yarn from 10 years ago was still in business. She was not, okay. I was like, no, it's okay, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I am a dyer, okay. I am a dyer. Okay, the indie dyer I bought the yarn from is not in business anymore, but I'm a dyer. I can dye yarn with like pink, purple, and rust. I can do that. And then the pattern was not a pattern. That's something I improvised, okay? But you know what? I went deep diving in my notes and actually found my notes dating from January the 27th, 2015 at 2:26 in the afternoon. And I got my notes. That's the old socks, because it was inspired by, you know, the old pattern from an Harry Potter cardigan. Yeah, cardigan. And then it's Amanda Elizabeth from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery who had the idea to use that to knit a pattern with the stitch pattern, but it didn't work out. But I loved the idea so much that I wanted to try it out for myself. And I did, and it was beautiful. And then I killed them. So after a morning in the waste bin, I thought that maybe I could salvage them. And I will knit another one for my sister. She will notice, definitely she will notice. There is no way I'm going to fix that without it being noticed, okay? Because there's a huge hole here. Okay, this must be a cautionary tale for you guys. If you have this at home and you notice that it's making this sound, it means it's eating your knitting. So be extremely careful. There is another thing. Maybe I should have kept this on. I removed it, but I think I was a mistake. Okay, so officially I'm no priestess of a sock. I'm just a sock killer, okay? I didn't tell my sister yet. I think I'm going to... The yarn I dyed for her to replace this is still in the pan. I have to rinse it out and put it to dry. I'm seeing her this weekend. There's no way her socks will be finished by then. I feel so silly. Okay. My mother had a saying was le mieux est l'ennemi du bien. which translates to better, best is the enemy of good. So sometimes you have to settle for good without aiming to do the best. I think I should have done that for those. I should have left them with the peel, but intact, their integrity intact, because I mean, even if I'm fixing all the little thread that got snipped during the shearing process, I am of a mind that it's going to, you know, the next time they're going to be washed in the machine or things like that, it's going to unravel completely. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I should throw them away, which is a good thing. I mean, considering what I was talking and rambling about in the last episode when I was like, oh, for the love of socks, blah 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 blah. Okay, I just killed the socks. Anyway, okay, there was this other thing I wanted to share with you. If you remember, I've been telling you for a few episodes that I don't know what's happening to me. I'm very reasonable. I'm adulting about having many whips at the same time. I feel like I want to finish things. I don't want to cast on new things and blah blah blah. Okay, it's done. Okay, I'm over it. I felt that urge to cast on yesterday. It was all I could do, not to cast on like 3 shawls at the same time. And proof is that I printed out no less than 4 different sock patterns I want to knit again. Only patterns I've already knitted once, and I love them so much. And actually, they might be the socks that were damaged during, you know, the washing, drying thing incident I talked to you about last week. So some are too small, some are, yeah, the pattern I want to knit again, okay? So I didn't cast on, but I printed the patterns out. And then I cast on for a new shawl. So actually, it's the second time that I cast on for this shawl. The first time around, well, see, this is the shawl. It's the Kala pattern by Natasha Hornsby. Natasha Hornsby. She's a very talented designer. I love what she does, and I think that pattern is one of the most beautiful pieces of knitting I've ever seen. And I've been wanting to knit this shawl for a long time. So this is out of Len number 7. And the thing is, I wanted to knit this shawl out of something a bit rustic. So it was before I was an indie dyer. So I went to my favorite yarn dealer and bought some Icelandic, I think, or Finnish wool. I don't have the, it's not close to me, I can't show it, but it's on my Ravelry page if you want to see the one that was rugged. It was a lovely yarn, but not one that you can wear close to the skin, even if with something under. I mean, the thing was prickly, even through my jeans, my pair of jeans. When I was knitting it, it was on my lap. Yeah, and I'm not sensitive to wool at all. I mean, I'm wearing this without anything under, okay? I like bare skin under, and it's Moran silk and DK yarn, and I'm not sensitive at all. But that wool was too much for me, too much. I mean, it was very coarse, very coarse. So anyway, denial. Okay, I knitted up to the first repetition of the chart, and I was like, and it was very rope-like, and I was like, I'm really not enjoying this, and honestly, I will never wear this. I mean, if the thing is uncomfortable just sitting on my lap through my jeans, am I really going to wear this around my neck? But it took me some time to accept that and to finally frog the thing. Okay, it was, I mean, I think this was like 3 years ago. Okay, and I remembered about that yesterday, and I thought, Okay, I want to knit that. I can just dye some yarn, but wait a minute, I have 4 skeins of absolutely crazy soft yarn in my stash. Something I dyed just to, you know, to try it out, because I'm an indie dyer, so I can have the most beautiful yarns to try, and voila. And this is it. So I don't remember what it's exactly. I'm going to put it there. I think it's alpaca. There is silk in there. It's incredibly soft. I mean, it's super soft. And initially I had dyed that. It's the colorway Cute Foxy, and the yarn is naturally a very pale shade of grey. And I dyed that initially to knit myself another Magnolia Chunky, because I love this pattern. And I wanted to have a Magnolia Chunky out of this yarn with Syrian silk. Like, so soft. I mean, buttery soft Magnolia Chunky. But didn't have the time, everything was caked up. I still have the Syrian in my bin. But yeah, I had those ones sitting. And I think it's a colorway that's perfect to show off the beautiful flower-like cable of the shawl. And so I cast on yesterday, and this is, I knitted a lot yesterday. I'm almost to the first short repetition with the beautiful flowers. So it's very addictive, it's a joy to knit. I mean, the yarn is incredible. So it's a test. So I think I will have some in my shop. I'm going to bring some in, because that yarn is really a delight, and it's so soft. I'm just waiting to knit the cables to see how it shows, how texture, but it's so soft, so soft. And yeah, I think I'll have some for my, I'd love to have that shawl finished for my next fiber show at the end of March. And if that's the case, I think I'll bring in some of that yarn to be dyed and presented at that fiber show. And anyway, that is an option, but there is also a more affordable option with the regular decay weight. I will have both. I think I will have kits for both. You need 4 skeins to knit this shawl. And I'm very happy because actually I was like, I didn't know what to knit. I had no inspiration really. So I'm very happy to feel the itch to cast on again. But I'm still a bit reasonable because I cast on for this shawl after I finished these. So whoops. Those are the hat heel socks. I think it's by Kathleen Sperling, but I'm going to put the details in the show notes. So I knitted the second side and I have a pair, and my box of socks is actually full, and more than full because I don't have any room left. So I really need to have a bigger box. Because I'm not going to stop knitting socks. So those are just crazy cool. This is the Evil Eye version of the socks, which are really funny. And they're woven in, which is not a misfit, because I mean that's something to wave your hands on that pattern, knowing that I made some straps. And yeah, FO. So cool, so cool. So the other thing I wanted to share with you guys after knitting those socks is that in December, Céline Agaès from Burda reached out to offer me an interview. So it's the first time that I gave an interview for a magazine. So Burda, I think, is German, but we have a French version. It's a European publication. And so there is an interview of me in number 14. That's January, February 2022, and it's a beautiful interview because the thing that that I really liked about this is that Céline took the time to get to know me before asking questions, and it was really interesting question to answer, and yeah, I really liked the way she approached my business and the way I'm working, and it was, I mean, I'm very grateful for this interview. So this is my face, this is my booth, this is my advent calendar, blah 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 blah, a lot of things that I tell about tricot stitch, and some more pictures about the La Bohème, the mystical I did, the Almanac, the Stock Knitters Almanac, the Jimmy pattern that you get when you subscribe. That's the gift. I'm sending you the pattern when you subscribe to the newsletter. Yeah, it was a great opportunity for me to talk about tricot stitch, and I'm so proud actually. I got 2 copies. One is going to go to my parents for keeping. So that's in Burda, and it's the same. Actually, it's the same group that makes also Fait Main Crochet. So that's Burda is more about knitting. This is more about crochet. So I'm also featured in the Fait Main Crochet number 16, February 2022. And I think they had more place for the pictures, and I'm liking this one even more. I think it's lovely. Just hold on 1 second. Here I am. So this is the first double page. Yeah. And the second double page, and look at the picture here. How beautiful is that? Is the kit of minis that I did for the Land of Sweets call. This is the version I did for last Christmas, but I think the picture looks lovely, like this, full page. I'm so proud. So here you go. I'm super happy about that. Okay, then I cannot not show you my kit for my next cross stitch project, because I received it from the Home Makery. So this is a needle minder. So you remember the pattern is this one, Little Red Riding Hood Parade, I think, and this is the kit. So that's the threads with the classic Colorworks threads as well, and the lovely hand-dyed fabric from Picture This Plus. This makes the difference when you get this fabric that is intended for the pattern. I'm usually swapping fabrics because we don't have hand-dyed fabrics in France, not that I know of. So usually I'm just having some industrial dyed fabric from my local yarn store, but sometimes I treat myself to the recommended fabric, although it's really expensive to buy that in the UK now, with, you know, all the custom duties and things like that. But anyway, I'm really happy I did, because the color is beautiful, and I think it works very well with the colors of the thread. So that's it, and then I'm going to end the podcast with books. I've been reading a lot. I just wanted to share with you what I'm reading, what I'm listening to. So the first, because I'm a subscriber to Audible, but audible.com, not Audible. Well, I'm also a subscriber to Audible.fr, but also to audible.com, because there is much more. It's more interesting for me, because there is a lot of titles that are included in the membership. I don't have to spend a credit to hear the included titles, and there is a lot of choice in English literature, well, in English, so much more than the French Audible, which is also good, because I love to listen to French titles as well. But yeah, so the first book I wanted to share with you is Mountain Man. It's from Keith C. Blackmore, and actually that was a good surprise, because I chose that book just to wait in between credits. I think I finished the latest Rhys Bowen I read, that was Death of Riley, that's number 2 in the Molly Murphy series. It was great, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading the volume 3. I don't remember, For the Love of Mikey, I think it's the name. So For the Love of Mike. But I'm going to read that in March as part of the ongoing year read-along of Stunning String Studio. So I was in between books, I didn't have any credits left, so I just included title, and it's actually very good, and it's a whole series too. There is not only one book. So Mountain Man, then I listened to number 2, which is Safari. There is also Priquel, which is the hospital. All those titles are included as in my Audible membership. I only spent a credit to have the number 3, Halifax, which I'm currently listening to. The thing is, I like to listen to my books when I'm working, when I'm dyeing yarn. So that's good, but also when I'm, going to sleep. And actually, that particular series is not good for going to sleep. I mean, too much suspense, too much action, too much zombies going from everywhere. There was a scene with a tide of zombies circling the protagonist, the hero, hideout in the mountain. And it was impossible to get to sleep. I mean, I was like at 1 a.m. in the morning, like wide-eyed with my heart pounding because I was hoping you would make it. And not good for going to sleep, okay? So in the included titles in Audible, there is also sorry, no, I don't want to listen to it right now. I just want to show you the details. There is also this one, Devil May Care by Tony Evans. So this one is actually very interesting because it's a Jonathan Harker mystery. Jonathan Harker is the character that defeated Dracula in Bram Stoker's original Dracula novel. And it's Jonathan Harker, after he defeated Dracula, is actually is actually running like a detective agency, something like that, but for occult affairs. So he's specialized in dealing with the occult after he defeated Dracula. So this is quite good. I haven't read it all for the time being because it's typically what I read when I go to sleep, what I listen to when I go to sleep. And usually it's very good for going to sleep because, I mean, it's not that it's not interesting, but it's not thrilling like Mountain Man. So I'm going to sleep very quickly with this one. So I've listened to that, I think, for like 2 weeks now, and I'm still at chapter 2. Okay, so I decided to maybe change a bit and try another title just for going to sleep, to strike in the middle, nothing too, exciting, but nothing too dull as well. And so I tried the Cthulhu Casebooks, Shadwell Comes, and the Shadwell Shadows. Okay, and that's by James Lovegrove. That's also included. And that's Watson finally writing about the secret cases from Sherlock Holmes in covering some paranormal and fantastic cases. And so it's actually like a crossover between Sherlock Holmes and H.P. Lovecraft, which actually sounds super cool. But like for the Devil May Care, I think I've listened to chapter 1 at least like 5 times because I'm always falling asleep. Which again is not saying the book is not good, it's just that I'm very tired, and if there is no zombie involved, like on the point of eating the hero, I'm just going to sleep, okay? But I just wanted to share those with you because I think they're very good. And yeah, Mountain Man is a really cool discovery. I love that series very much. I think I'm going to read it all, and I think I'm going to rewatch The Walking Dead from the start. And then I bought some books. So surprisingly, there's one about socks, The Farmhouse Socks, which is actually a charming book about some socks inspired by the author childhood on a farm. And there are lovely details for the pattern. For example, this little thingy just above the heel of this socket, which I think is very cool and very comfortable. Then you have some super cool patterns inspired by the life on the farm, like this tractor path socks. And you have very practical socks for daily wear on the farm. So, you know, very sturdy socks, different weight of yarn as well, and lots of very cool patterns. Very cool patterns. I love the first one as well. So that's the farmhouse slippers. And so, yes, a book that I find really, I enjoy very much. It's about socks, and I think it's my life mission to collect every book on the subject. And then there is another subject that I would like to know more about and maybe research in a way. It's the notion of knitting as a mindfulness tool or a mindful practice. So I bought this mindfulness in knitting book by Rachel Matthews. So it's meditation on craft and calm, but I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but the notion of calm is really something that is becoming more and more important to me. And I'm actually working on that with the kids as well, because they tend to be very loud. They like to shout, they like to run everything amok, they like to, you know, fight with each others, and that as soon as they set foot on the ground in the morning. So I'm really trying to make them understand that it's important for everybody to have a modicum of calm, especially in the morning before you had your coffee. Yeah, calm is something that is becoming more and more important to me. So yeah, and you know, for my pattern réconfort, which means comfort in English, it was as much something about the finished object as it was about the process of knitting the shawl. Réconfort applies to the shawl, the finished object, but also as the emotion I wanted people to feel while knitting the shawl. And that's something I really want to develop going forward in my choice of patterns, my designing options. I really want to promote calm, serenity, mindfulness, being present in the moment and enjoying what you do slowly, one stitch at a time, and not rushing and rushing and rushing and always rushing. I think it's because I'm getting older. So that book, I'm currently reading it, and in the same theme, this is Serenity, and it's a collection of patterns that honestly I don't know if I'm going to make them, but really simple things, useful things. This one I might make. I think it's really lovely. You never have enough, you know, little baskets. I like this one too. Yeah, it's a collection of patterns that are designed with the objective of helping you relax, helping you focus and or maybe let go of stress, of really a meditative way of considering your knitting. I think that's something that's quite important. It can be some little things like this, for example, very short to make, but which are a source of well-being and mental health as well, because I think knitting has a really powerful impact on mental health. So that's really something I want to dig, that I want to explore further, and I'm really pretty much interested in that. So Also, I didn't show you very quickly, I'm growing my pile of little knitted samples. I've just finished Fais-moi peur, which was the Soft Knitter's Almanac colorway for October. So that's the yarn of the socks I've just finished. And I've started on Nuit d'hiver, which was the Soft Knitter's Almanac, my very first colorway for the Soft Knitter's Almanac, in January of last year. And this is the crochet, and knitting is ongoing. So this is the Mindful project by really Excellence, because this is very nice to do, very simple. I'm enjoying, you know, working with the yarn, seeing how the colors distribute themselves on those little projects. It's very easy and quick to make them. I'm really enjoying that a lot. And the last book I wanted to share with you guys, I think I talked about that a few episodes ago. That's my, from the Literary Almanac. That's the book recommendation for February. I've just started it because it's school holidays, it's a school break for 2 weeks in France, in my zone. And I have actually some time in the mornings. We don't have to rush out to drop the kids at school. So I have some time in the morning to enjoy my cup of coffee in calm. Usually I wake up earlier than the kids, so I really have some calm in the morning. And I'm enjoying reading this early in the morning, and I'm hoping I will finish it by the end of the school holidays. So I've not started the text per se, so it's the Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, but I've read the foreword, which was really interesting because it's written by Tom Perrotta, which is what is he? Just hold on. Tom Perrotta is, hold on one second, I'm going to tell you that in a minute. Tom Perrotta is the author of 8 books, including The Leftovers, adapted into a hit TV show by HBO. Yeah, so the guy is, contemporary, and I loved his foreword because he told that the Scarlet Letter was, he knew the Scarlet Letter as an assigned text in high school English class. So, like millions of American teenagers before him, he found the book strange and difficult, bordering on oppressive, and actually he hated it. And that's later in his adult life that he came back across this book again and had the opportunity to revisit it, and he changed his mind completely. He actually said that he had totally misunderstood and hopefully underestimated the book, and he wanted to find Hawthorne and apologize. So he really made me want to, the foreword really made me want to read the book even more. It was possible. I found that very interesting to know that this is the kind of assigned text in high school, for example, because I don't remember fondly the assigned text I had in high school. I really think I think I'd like to read them again now, just to have another go at them, because I remember I didn't like them at the time. It was too long, too complicated, too old, too, yeah. I think that a lot of students are not mature enough to appreciate what they're reading at that time, and I think it's the way to enlighten them and to make them, yeah, it's a great way to enrich their culture. But I don't think you have. Well, actually, I didn't have what was needed to appreciate the books I was signed to read in high school, definitely. And I was a good student. But anyway, I didn't like it at all. So it's strange that I'm really getting older. It's strange that now I'm going to that kind of book myself, not even in my mother tongue. But we'll see, maybe I will find this horrible and I will say that I am going to give up at the first chapter. I don't know, okay? Maybe I will enjoy it very much and maybe I won't. But we'll see. And the introduction is also interesting, less, but still interesting, because it gives you some information about Nathaniel Hawthorne and what was his life, and more than that, what was his life at the moment that he decided to write the book. So that's interesting too, just to have a bit of context. The thing that stayed with me in what I've read so far is that at the time, because Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote this in 1850. So at the time, he wrote about a period that was 200 years back. For him, it was the action in the Scarlet Letter is 1640. That's more than 200 years before his time. So it's an historical novel. And for us reading that, like almost... not far from 200 years later, so that's 400 years later than the action is. I mean, you have to keep that in mind when you read that it was an historical novel and that Nathaniel Hawthorne did not experience life at this time. He just, made a rendition of what he thought was like life was like at this time. And I mean, he had also other material to explain that, but yeah, I think it's important to have this in mind, that is not something that was contemporary to him, that was not contemporary to him. Anyway, so that's my reading for the next mornings to come. I'm enjoying having a physical book for once, because usually I keep physical books for knitting. And everything I read is on Audible or on my Kindle, so this is good. Okay, and that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you next week. I forgot to tell you that in the shop today we'll find yarn. Actually, in the shop today is going to be all the single skeins that didn't make it in the shop update last week, because I was so late last week that I sent the newsletter later than usual. And I had some emails asking me, well, I didn't receive the newsletter, could you please resend? And I was like so happy, because that means you are waiting for it, guys. That's so cool. So hopefully I will be on time this time around. And single skeins, that means no kits, okay, just yarn, separate listings for yarn. Some of them are true single skeins, one skein of one colorway. Some of them is one colorway and several skeins of the same colorway in the same listing. So you have sweater quantities there, you have single skeins, you have a lot of things. And that's it for this week. So I'll see you next week. Have a lovely time. And